Yep.
That's
Yay.
it. All right. Oh. Hey, namaste and welcome to Soul Mirrors. Be amazed. Well, I am so grateful that you are here with us on this extraordinary equinox moment. You know, we are all at a moment right now where the universe is coming forward and saying, I am here, and what are you going to do? And that's why today we are birthing feminine balance. We are harvesting our jewels because in a moment where so much is trying to distract you, what we're going to invite you through this Equinox special show to maybe distract you with the energy of the divine within. And in order to do that, there's only one person that I would have ever thought of to co-host this extremely special show with me, and that is my dear, dear friend, someone I just adore and respect eternally, Suzanne Toro. And so Suzanne is already here. Hey, Suzanne.
Hello.
Hi, welcome.
Oh, sweet one. That's very sweet. I feel the same way.
Thank you, my love. Thank you. And you know, everyone, one of the things you can do is if you gaze into the e-card, you'll see that I have everything you need to know about Suzanne. Click on these links and learn more. I have been blessed to witness her for, how many years has it been since we met, Suzanne? Do you even
know? Well over a decade. Well over a decade.
Exactly. Like I was looking at a picture of you. Oh my gosh, I have to send it to you. It was a picture of you we have from you in LA, I think when we had some things from Guatemala, and you had awesome photo of you. You look so blessed. Just like
you guys did the installment there.
Exactly. Yeah. I love it. And so the reason, guys, I'm sharing this is because I know I've had the blessing over these years to just witness such a blossoming and such a beauty come forward on the planet. And so I'm just so grateful, Suzanne, that you're here today to help really inspire all of us about when it comes to birthing our feminine balance, when it comes to really saying yes to the jewels within, that, you know, it is something that is paramount. I think this equinox is carrying a very unique, special energy in it, in many different ways. And so I just wanted to check in. You know, how is your tribe going around this time? What are they talking about?
Well, it's been kind of like we were talking briefly before. There's been a lot of crisis with opportunity for transformation, and also a propensity to like push past programming and realizing that it really does exist everywhere. Like we have to really be conscious even in what we communicate, because I've noticed just the collective psyche is kind of, I feel, breaking open. But there's the opportunity even with the clients I work with to hold them accountable, to not try to trick themselves, because that's ultimately through, you know, our mass co-creation of this planet and what we're experiencing is we can trick one another, you know, by even the simplest things. Like we want to believe something's one way and we start tricking ourselves. So sometimes we're inadvertently programming ourselves to believe a truth that doesn't even exist. It's more of a delusion. So it feels like
a big point. Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like a big veil dropping, but it's a little bit painful for a lot of people in witnessing, you know. So for me, it's about anchoring into the earth energy, just to really feel the power of my own embodiment as a woman, but also to bring objective reality. I feel like rationality is really important right now.
Yeah, I would agree with that in every single way. And this is, you know, I want to go back to the discussion we had. And for all of you that are just tuning in, I just want to give a big shout out to TFR Live. Welcome. We love you. Thank you for being here. To all of our affiliates out there at iHeart and beyond, thank you for carrying our show. We're grateful to be with you as well. Over at Oneness Talk Radio, where you can listen and or watch this show. And of course, all of our social media. And we are also at YouTube at Official Shri and Kira. However, all of you that might be in the chat rooms everywhere tonight, Suzanne and I are sending you our love and our appreciation, because we are both very much engaged in this moment. On this night right now, September 19th, we are here at Tosa Blue Mountain receiving all of our guests who are here for the next, oh my goodness, everybody, I think we have a lot of people here through the 30th, getting ready to start our Cosmic Origins journey. And Suzanne, how about you? How's your weekend looking for the equinox?
Looking forward to this, the tipping point, like kind of like anchoring and then propelling forward.
I love that.
Yeah. And kind of more inward space, you know, so it's nice that you have people gathering. For myself, I've just been really trying to harness what's coming next, because it feels like gateways are opening up coming into the fall, October, November, you know, that time is really feels expansive.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this is something, so now I do want to go back a little more deeply into what we were sharing before we got started, because, and again, guys, I just want to share with all of you, the phone lines are not open this evening because Suzanne and I are off in our Equinox journeys, as I know you will be as well this coming weekend. So before we got on the air, Suzanne and I got off on a great, I don't know, Suzanne, what's the word you would use? Recognition, inspiration, awareness, right? We're in this month of awareness. And I was fascinated by, and I really would love to explore with you, actually something I just went through around this. I think might be fascinating to explore. But I've really been fascinated when you said that you've been running into with a lot of your clients something that surprised you, and I have been having the exact same experience, and that's like a spell type or dark type energy, right? Is that where we were talking about? Yeah,
absolutely.
So let's go back there.
Yeah, you know, a lot of just the rising and maybe witnessing it obviously has been there, but it's more visible.
Right.
And the essence of the black magic that's been, people are using against one another, which is not really appropriate from my point of view, because you can twist anything to think that you're in the right and someone else is in the wrong. So some of those occult skills are very dangerous, you know. So for me, it's been a little like, wow, okay. And then feeling like just like a clearing, which I consider kind of a good sign, like lifting off a lot of energies and entities that have been maybe trapped, you know, next to or in and around people. So really, I think when we were talking about people going into dark spaces, it's like that propensity of the two shifting, like releasing that dark energy that isn't supposed to be here anymore. And maybe there's an expiration date on all these spells. I don't know. It's pretty shocking.
Well, you know, it is. And you know, as I was sharing with you right before we went on the air, is that what I've noticed also is, and I've also been experiencing, is many people, and especially it's been building. I've noticed it building. It's like there is a crescendo. We already know that the October energy is going to be very, very intense. And that's why the September energy is giving us this opportunity to really pay attention. But a lot of people who are feeling overwhelmed. You know, one beautiful, beautiful woman wrote me, and at the end of her email, she said, I hate spirituality now. It's just too hard. And you know, my heart was like, oh, angel. You know, and another beautiful being reached out to me just at the end of his rope and was like, you know, I don't even know why I'm on the planet anymore. And I will admit to, even over the past several months myself, having those moments of connection. And as I have really sourced into those, and I'm really curious in your experience, what you've been sourcing as well, what I'm experiencing is that the powers that be, whatever, I don't want to dive into anything other than, let's just call them whatever energy X it is, okay? Whatever energy X is, that would seek to stop the rise of consciousness, which is the only way the planet will shift, the only way, right? Is to say, okay, we've tried to scare you, right? We've done that. We've tried to shock you, right? We've tried to, you know, tell you you're crazy, right? We've tried to do all kinds of negative press about you, and darn you, you're still here. So now, right? I mean, seriously, let's think about our dreams, right? And so now let's just make it so hard that most of you will give up voluntarily. And Suzanne, this is what has rocked me to my core, because I see it. And I feel like I feel like those of us that have really known each other all this time, that have really stayed together and have really stayed connected and have kept this work and stayed in our integrity, I feel that we are being called out. I think that, that is the moment where we must remember that together we are better, and we are being called out. And so how's that resonating with you? Are you like, oh, Kira, you're full of it, or?
No, absolutely. You know, and, you know, to the comments of some of what you're seeing through your guests and clients, and even, you know, for self, I mean, in the work that you're doing is you're very porous. So you're very susceptible to like being pulled in and out. We all are. But,
So
you
true.
know, it's a big practice right now just to like say, okay, this is me. And, you know, your clients are you. All of that
This
stuff.
is so true. I know everybody listening is going, yeah.
Yeah, you have to check in that way. But the aspect of, you know, not, you know, a spiritual path, raising in consciousness, it requires diligence. And that's why it's a practice.
Underline, capital letters, like big fluorescent sign. I'm loving this, Suzanne. So true.
Yeah.
And no matter what, you know, no matter what. And I think if we all look back at 2019, have we not all had a lot thrown at us this past year?
Yep, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just, you know, I always equate it to that learning to surf, and no matter what the conditions are, whether it's a glassy top, you're waiting for your next set of waves, or, you know, it's crashing down on you, you still have the ability to practice. And that's where some of the juicy stuff happens, when things are really pressed and you feel vulnerable. That's when I feel like you just break through, because as you know, like you have those breakthroughs and you're like, okay, everything's okay now.
So true.
Yeah. Back to bedrock, you know. But I think I mean, in the work that I've witnessed you do for as long as I've known you, which is clearly several lifetimes over, is that when you're operating from, you know, an eternal space to a physical space, it's not easy. And then helping encourage others to keep going, because when the consciousness rises, then we have the opportunity to work with different tools and work and create. I mean, like, if anyone's been to the Acropolis or the pyramids or some of these like mysterious structures on the planet, they're not made by humans the way the history's shown, because of the precision. Exactly. That can happen in higher states of consciousness, because then the mind can create in a certain way that's very effortless. It's divinity operating through, and that's why most people, when they create, are like, wow, I was singing, but it wasn't me. Or I was, you know, when you're in your element, you're like, it's coming through me. It's not necessarily me. And when we become those channels, that's when we can really facilitate some pretty magical stuff on the planet.
Agreed.
Yet everyone has to be willing to give up. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't have your density things that are your compulsions, addictions, afflictions, and be at a higher resonance. It's just not possible.
Well, you know, I'm giggling because I've been having this dance with the divine directors now for many months, and it has literally brought me to the point where, in order to continue this journey, I had to become grain free. I mean, I'm like, and it's not, I don't feel like I'm giving up anything. You know, I feel probably the most illuminated I have ever been in my entire life. Yet, I think how many people would not be willing to give, you know, to say, what does my body need? And this is a really beautiful discernment. And I'm loving that as we're talking about this birthing this feminine balance, right? Because how many beautiful women, or those who carry strong feminine energy, give so much of themselves that balance doesn't even enter into the picture, much less the ability to harvest the jewels from within, because you're not even aware they're there. Right. And so this is a profound moment that is a gift for everyone. But I want to go back to what you said earlier. And I just, my heart is so big around you, because I bow before you, because I know you live this, as do I. And that is that it's not easy. And anybody that tells you it's easy is full of it, because it's not. But it is worth it. It is amazing. It is extraordinary. It is an uplifting. So I want to share a little story with you, because I've been very blessed to be working with some amazing people down here in Ecuador, and you know, ever since Sri went through his whole horrible death thing, and anyway, these people were at my house here at Tosa Blue Mountain last week, and this beautiful man, and I'm talking about a really integrous man of great clear energy and beautiful heart, incredible soul, started crying. And the reason he was crying was because he said to me, Kira, I didn't know anybody was positive at all. I didn't know there was any positivity left. And he was like, I can't thank you enough for just letting me know that there is still positivity. And these are good people, Suzanne, you know, and this, what I'm sharing is that everyone, regardless of the journey, regardless of the level of whatever attainment we think we've got, because goodness knows we're always attaining, right? And so, but everyone is being pulled to the brink. And this is something that I feel in my heart, we all need to really be unified in not holding back. I think we need to be talking about it. I think we need to get it out there because we need to be aware of what it is. This is not us. These are not even our thoughts. You know, this is an intricate weaving of energy. And this is why the way that I kind of phrase it is that this is the moment where the fifth dimension is even eroding. And it's the moment to recognize that we are capable. We are more than capable of being in the seventh dimension. Have you experienced
that? Absolutely. And when you were talking, I'm sorry, I keep going into your like energetic field.
That's my fault. I'll pull it back. I'm just so enjoying being with you. It's been like
I am too. No, it's good. There were like so many thoroughfares.
I know, right? All the subtext heading on right now. Don't you love it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when you were talking, the first thing that was coming in, I was tuning into the gentleman crying and about positivity, and you know, really, there's that word abracadabra. The words we speak are what we create. And then even in the Bible, they'll say, and the word is God. Right. So what's happened is we've degraded our entire society because of social media and all these things that are blessings. We can get out and communicate. We can be in 2 different countries and share this information. Right. But at the same time, we've gotten into a place where our propensity might be to point out the negative, to attack what's not working, you know, all those things. Versus like saying, oh, why not speak that which I want? Why not speak with that which I want to create?
I love
it. It's like, it's just like a simple, beautiful thing. And even with your partnerships, your friendships, business, it's like, rather than point out the faults of it, why don't you start speaking to the strengths of your partner, your business relationships, so that they can build up? Because easily we could all just like nitpick one another, right?
Right.
But instead, you know, and that's why I think we're such a fragile state. You know, we're in that like brink of walking through another veil of consciousness because people are tired. They're worn out. They're like, you know, they feel accosted by all the negativity that's come at them.
That's exactly it. And I'm loving that you're talking about this because I was just having this conversation earlier with some guests here at Tosa Blue Mountain that we are literally witnessing. We chose this moment in this linear timeline and this experience of density because we are literally witnessing the evolution of our own species at every single level. So, I mean, imagine that. Yes, it can be horrifying to see what's happening in 3D right now. This is why 3D is there to invite us to live faster and to invite us to anchor. And that's why we're letting ourselves down. Because I'm seeing a lot of my brothers and sisters saying, I'm over it. I'm stopping. Yeah. It's too easy.
Well,
it's too easy to just succumb.
Right. But the beautiful thing to hear what you were talking about earlier about the grains, like eliminating. So from a yogic path or an indigenous path, there's always a stripping away. It's not like because you are giving something up. It's actually you release certain things and more things are afforded, right?
Yes.
And so that's what's happening right now when people are like, oh, I want to give up. They're not really giving up if they step back. They're giving up on the lessons of samsara. You know, it's like, you know, in Buddhist teachings and yogic teachings, it's like once you're done satiating your sense pleasures, then you realize, oh, I could live simpler and be afforded other things and have access to other things. But there's a level of trust that's really important there.
Wow,
because it doesn't mean it's going to be. It's not going to be necessarily free, breezy, easy, but those are the the attachments of all those things that we grasp at, that we want. But it's I would encourage anyone listening that feels like they're done with samsara, fantastic. They're done with the suffering cycle, fantastic.
Right on.
It doesn't mean you won't live in the world, but you're in it and you're experiencing it, but you're going to experience it from a different way because you're not.
I want to go there. I want to go there. Yeah, no, I got to jump in. I got to go here with you because that is exactly it. And so I love this conversation. So I have really been all over with this with a lot of different people and a lot of different energies and beautiful gifts that have come in. And so there is this resolution that you're talking about. And I think this is one of the jewels. And I think it's one of the greatest jewels that we can harvest. And that resolution is recognizing that absolutely we are living in the world of illusion. Absolutely this is a co-created, quote, reality. Absolutely, let's just take that, yes. However, it does not negate or give you permission to not participate.
Right.
Right. And so I am seeing a lot of people hiding behind that. And I don't know if you're noticing this over in your tribe there in California, but what I'm noticing worldwide, globally, because I work with a lot of people worldwide, is that a lot of people are hiding behind that. Well, it's all just an illusion anyway. Therefore, none of this is real. Therefore, I'm not going to engage. Therefore, it doesn't matter.
Right.
And what a cop-out, forgive me.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, I'm sorry, that's a flesh and blood body talking to me right now.
Right.
So let's talk about that denial. Are you,
right.
what I'm seeing is it's almost like
absolutely yeah, well, it's a bypassing. And I think a lot of what's happened is because, you know, when I mentioned like the ideas of programmings, there's so much, you know, hope in certain programs of even peace, love, and happiness. That sounds fantastic if we could all, you know, have that. But to truly attain that, that's really higher states of consciousness. And you have to come into, you know, neutrality, rationality, objectivity, and then you start accessing true love, true consciousness, equanimity, and peace and compassion. So it's, you know, it's a hard, because maybe people felt like it was just an easy, you know, scoop of ice cream to have and then put it back away. But, you know, it's like, okay, I had a little bit, I don't need any more. But we do, you know, we're eternal beings. So we're paving the way into our future. And the only way you can do that is by taking effort in these physical temples. And fantastic, if you discover nirvana, whoever's listening, and you don't come back into the physical, fantastic for you. But everyone else, we have to like keep going. Well, and there's a lot of helpers here.
Right, and it's so true. And that's the gift of the integration. You know, I'll share with you that the journey, I know my personal journey, which really kind of rapidly escalated with the whole March events with Shri, and then the rise of the lineage holders and all these other things that have happened, led me to an extraordinary, I'm not going to use the word dark night, but it led me to a moment where, and I'm going to go back to something you said earlier, I had to trust in a way. Here I thought I always trust, right? Oh, I'm the queen of trust. I always say yes. And I was staring at my own abyss going, I don't know if I can do that. Because it really does, especially from the game board of density. The way I described it is, it's like being in the borderlands of sanity. It's like being out on the plateau, but yet you're consciously aware that you're on the plateau, which is the blessing. Yeah. And so the greatest revelation that came to me actually through a very fascinating experience, and I've been really trying on a lot lately, I want to share it with you because I think it has a lot to do with also harvesting our jewels, is that, so imagine a world, right? Imagine a world where every single being, I mean every being, everyone, unequivocally, always held your highest manifestation when they connected. So when we would look at each other, this is beyond the namaste. This is, oh, I see that you incarnated to be this. And that's how we see each other all the time. So, and there is a caveat to this, and I want to get to that in a minute. But imagine that world. Well, where that took me was the recognition that in my 17 years of public service to date and counting, what I have noticed was that has also been my greatest downfall. Is that because I only see that, it has more than once been my greatest master teacher. And so very, very recently, someone who I had considered a very dear friend and really considered to have been very, very awake, actually helped me realize that again. And I bow before her giving me that lesson, because the breakthrough is that for me, when we're carrying that highest picture all the time, and I believe we can create that, and I think we're creating that here at Tosa Blue Mountain, which is why I'm leaving here less and less. But when we can do that without being responsible for that person seeing it in themselves, when we can transcend seeing the highest and then see it go up into the seventh dimensional experience of really dissolution, then we release ourselves from that which binds us from carrying that energy.
Right.
Does that track with you or not?
Yeah. And I think the only point that I'm like feeling on that is that when so I do the same, I'll like see the highest
potentiality, right?
But then having to bring it back to the physical and see where the person's at within their journey and keep pointing them to that highest, and so that's where discernment really has to come in, like, oh, okay. And I'll use the word capacity a lot, like, okay, this person's highest potential is here, but their capacity currently is here. And if they want to shed certain things, then the vibration will continue to lift, awaken. And again, it's like this muscle that we have to keep exercising for all of us. Like, oh, do I want to vibrate here or up here?
Well, that's really it, Suzanne. And then with that, and I love where you're going with this, is that they also have to want it themselves. My greatest was realizing that I have used up so much of my energy holding that for others when they didn't want it for themselves, because it's so outside my boundary of comprehension that why wouldn't you do that? And so it was a mastery journey, and it was a beautiful one. And that no matter where we are on our mastery journey, we are constantly getting more expanded opportunities to really assist more and more as we go on. And I've certainly found that. And I want to take 1 second right now and just give a shout out over at TFR and all of the affiliates. I know you're going into your break. We'll be back in about 3 minutes and catch up with you then. So go ahead, sweetheart.
Yeah, and as you're saying that, what I was actually connecting it to a moment for myself in this past little, quarter of realizing a similar thing, in that I don't have to hold it. I think maybe that's all of our lesson. Like we have whatever we have to offer, in our divine space, in our highest expression. That's all we really have to offer. It's like, and if you want this, then you can have it, but I don't have to like prop them up. And I think that's, a beautiful reflection from your friend to remind you don't have to hold all that. Because again, you're super porous, I'm super porous. And so at any given time, you do have to do those check-ins, like, who is this? Is this my client? Is this my partner? Is this some confluence from the collective? And that way you don't get out of balance through that process, because it can be super draining.
Oh, absolutely. And, I'm giggling that, again, here we are at September 19th. We're right in this equinox. I'm so excited because one of the things we do, we do a lot of ceremony here. And, this is all about, here in Ecuador, it's all about the feminine. And we're actually having a mama instead of a taita do the official. And we're christening our temescal for the first time. And
beautiful.
I'm very excited. It's so big. It holds 16 people. It's huge. It's beautiful.
Nice.
And then we're going to be up at Ingapurka. And Ingapurka, I was smiling as I was thinking about what you were mentioning earlier. So Ingapurka, check this out. It's 45 minutes from here. I can't even believe we live here. Is the only goddess temple of the Incan Empire. And
wow.
Right? And it's made of perfectly cut blue stones that are from where I live here. They had to come from here to get up there. And the temple is an egg. It is literally creation. And so I'm sharing this with you because as you and I are in this moment, this birthing moment, this beautiful divine equinox, we're one of the things that we did was I made little seed foot rattles for everybody, so that we can really say our hello and wake ourselves up. And this is the gift of this moment, is it not? That through all of these challenges, that through all of this muck and mire and, okay, we're just going to make it hard for you. Those of us that have navigated our way through this, quite frankly, I think are poised to have the times of our lives. I mean, how are you sensing that?
Absolutely. Well, that's what it feels like, a trajectory. For
Right.
me, it's been a very grounding and listening passage, just as I've been witnessing everyone, and almost a reclaiming time for myself, like reclaiming where I want to be, vibrationally, and for the work I do with others. And then now it feels like there's an expansion. And I just really encourage people not to get distracted, because typically, as you know, that when you're wanting to vibrate higher, the confluence and intersection of distraction
it's a guarantee.
Is high.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. So it's like preparing yourself for a sporting event. You're like, okay, I'm doing this, and I'm not going to get distracted. Having the summarized path, where you don't get distracted by all that stuff. That there's going to be opposition to the stance you're taking, but just to keep moving forward.
Exactly. And that's really the key, is to recognize that no matter what is happening in the world of illusion, if we can keep our eyes focused on the divine at all times, then we can constantly keep becoming and lifting, right? From that third dimensional witness, that fifth dimensional witnesser, seventh dimensional witnessing, back into this ninth dimensional witness frequency again. And that's the gift of this equinox right now. And that's why I'm so excited we're together, because this month we are all being given an opportunity to, take off our own cloak and go, oh, you mean that?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of fun, don't you think?
Absolutely. I think it's exciting. Even in chaos, I get so excited in chaos because I know something really juicy is on the other side.
Exactly,
so
right?
I tend not to be so glum about it, even though it can be painful or hurts, but really encouraging people that there's opportunities. And typically when that energy, we're coming into fall, which in the northern hemisphere, and spring in the southern, so that yin and yang is switching again.
Right.
And as the yin's rising up, it's really welcoming to be a receptacle, and also to shed whatever you have stored in the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual body. And it's like we get all invited to go into that little, moon space from now until the end of winter in the northern hemisphere, real creative time. So for me, I love this time of year. I think that's why a lot of people like this time of year, because maybe they yearn to be held by the feminine.
I agree.
They're experiencing the fall,
Absolutely.
It's gonna. And question for you, as you anchor into the Earth's energy, what do you feel most propelled to be filled up by at this time of year?
What a beautiful way to, thank you. What a beautiful question. Well, the first thing I just wanted to share is that I've been very blessed to be very, I guess what I would share is tangibly supported with Gaia here at Tosa Blue Mountain. So I know that, Shri and I literally were spiritual vagabonds for 10 years. And we had no idea we were on that journey. Thank God you're on that need to know basis, right?
Yeah.
And I think winding up here at Tosa Blue Mountain is beyond magical. We discovered 2 more caves. All these things are coming out. And so when I touch in, the first thing I feel actually was what came in during the Lion's Gate, the 8/8 Lion's Gate, which was that profound kind of like a shout out from Gaia that said, for those of you that are really seeing me, I am here and let me lift you. So right now, when you asked me that question, the first thing I literally felt was actually levitation, because I'm constantly feeling this, it's like a supportive ray of light emanating from this beautiful heart center that's just saying, I see you.
Yeah, beautiful.
And then I will share, because for me it's both parts. I'm just as connected to the cosmic. So right now, I can't do one or the other. If I just do this one, then I'm out of balance. And obviously if we just do that, we're out of balance. Well, we're still carrying the body. And that's what I'm trying to figure out right now, is how to keep those going, which is why I'm eating very little and loving it. So what I would say is, when that was met in August, when the cosmic universe responded, So when you ask me that question, and forgive me for giving you such a broad answer.
No, it's beautiful.
What I feel is literally, it's like I'm suspended in this pillar of energy that is the perfect union of sky and earth. So that's how. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. Heaven to earth within you.
Literally. Well, and okay, so I have to tell you, and around me. So I don't know if you heard, but I have to share because I'm so excited. So, here at Tosa Blue Mountain, we're blessed. We own this freaking mountain with petroglyphs and all this. I have archaeologists coming again next week, and everybody's been documenting. And
nice.
But it is nice. But we hear the river, okay? And this is the Paute River, which comes directly from the Amazon, because if I get in my car and stay on my road, I am in the Amazon in 2.5 hours. So this river you hear. Well, this is awesome, Suzanne. I don't know if I shared this with you or if you heard this already. The house literally across the street has been for sale forever. We have this man show up who introduces this laser technology. 48 hours before he shows up, I'm having visions of a clinic. We bought the house. And so now, beautiful. I know, right? So now we're opening this free pain clinic for the indigenous, because we're the only non-indigenous here. And so they built my Temescal. They do everything. So now we're giving back, opening up this free pain clinic. We're getting people from all over the world already sending donations or wanting to come and help or volunteer. We're over there. Literally, I have people over there right now. And here's the key. It's on the river. So we literally so now, and it's literally in our deed that we get half the river. We can do puja. We can do so many things. So now, just like you said, we literally connected heaven all the way there. And we built the Temescal. We've got all 4 elements. And this Equinox, we're going to do all 4 elements. So it's very exciting. It feels like, doesn't it
absolutely
time of bringing everything back together?
Absolutely. And holding, I mean, you and Shri have been these beautiful, you might call yourself a vagabond, but you've been anchoring places, that are important through the process. People don't realize, like, in Tibetan Buddhism, they talk about the termas that are left. And so all those like petroglyphs and caves and sanctuaries, there's wisdom left, in the earth. And that's why people will be called to certain locations, because more than likely they left it and they are being called to remember or record it, and it'll energetically jump up into your body, and then it starts to awaken and remember itself. So it's beautiful that you're building a giant medicine wheel, it feels like there. I call it ground zero in all the
light. Thank you. Yeah. You have to get down here. You really do.
Oh, I'm planning on it.
Yay! Please. And we'll go to Ingapurka, because you must go to Ingapurka. And we are so blessed that we are blessed that we live here. Shri and I are actually now Ecuadorians. We just got our permanent last week. That came through.
Oh, congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I was so excited. I was really excited. I was very, very happy. And so we're very, very blessed. We have some really good access there, and they let me do these attunements and initiations in this cosmic portal. And it's crazy what goes on there, because unlike Machu Picchu, which has been overrun and is now regulated to the point where it breaks my heart, nobody goes to Ingapurka. And so they often call Ingapurka the Machu Picchu of Ecuador.
Yeah.
And, so what jewels, I'm gazing at how quickly this show goes. We have still about 10 minutes.
I know.
Less. That's crazy. So I know a lot of people are listening right now going, okay, I get it, you guys, what you're talking about. But like Suzanne, how have you done it? I mean, how have you gotten yourself through? I know what I've witnessed around you in the past however many years. You're a walking testimony of divine consciousness. So what gets you through?
Really, I think one is trust, so we are in Chinese medicine, we're in this season, actually, late summer, almost fall. We're right here at fall, but is of trust and anchoring in faith. And that tends to, wax and wane for people because you kind of feel like, what is this all about? Why am I doing this? But if you can keep coming back to your divine self and anchoring in that, because really, it just feels better. Like at the end of the day, does it feel better to be like, not serving your well-being, or does it feel good to be serving your well-being? And the only way you can completely serve your well-being, even if you're eating the right foods, getting the right body movement, your emotions are in balance, is to have a spiritual practice. And that is, what indigenous tribes across the globe, where I've traveled, where you've traveled, you see like this commonality, that there's a simplicity and a deep communion that you can't really explain to people from the unseen to the seen world until you experience it. Yeah. So I think that trust in that and willingness, like even our relationship from the first time being on the side of the mountain, having to like crawl up when there were no steps to where the fire ceremonies were, and just to witness your divine self and my relationship to you as a sister takes trust, because for anyone else, they might be like, what the heck are you guys talking about? But if you're willing to commune with each other that way, and have certain conversations that are from the unseen to the physical, that relationship is so much deeper, because literally over how many ever years we've been in body in proximity, we can literally pick up, I'll be like, hey, what's going on? Or I'll contact Shri or you. It's not so much a 3D where I have to like make sure you're okay every day, or talk to you every day, because our consciousness is communicating in a different form.
And so isn't that the gift? Isn't that the gift though, Suzanne?
Absolutely.
When we can model that, then what we're saying to the universe is we are open, right? That we are open, we are receiving, and then the universe says, okay, that trust that you've extended toward us, we're going to extend back. And when and you need to come together, we're going to bring you, you know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful synergy, because nothing is forced, everything's organic, and the time is always perfect.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, for me, it's been that trust, listening, taking more of a repose. So as we go into this time of feminine, that's what our feminine energy is truly to be in repose. So that's why retreats and questing and all those things are so important, because we don't integrate enough of that into our daily lives. That has been a huge factor for me. Like, I don't have to push things. If I listen into the quantum field, I can feel when they're going to happen. Now, the one thing I'll remind people is that other people that are really operating in the linear world sometimes get frustrated because they want something to happen now.
Right.
But to have this, to be steadfast in your knowing that, hey, it's not really gonna like fully blossom until then. I mean, seeds don't blossom for 60 to 90 days to a little teeny sprout. So Mother Nature kind of shows us how we should be a little bit more patient than we really are.
and this is the moment, right? The September equinox is all about the harvest and the bounty.
Yeah.
And, one of the little things that I'm doing here is I always like to plant a little something. So I usually plant basil. So I'm getting ready to plant some basil for the kitchen. Just something that reminds you that we are always growing. We are always blossoming, right? And that as we harvest this bounty, I think it's a beautiful moment for each of us to really kind of sit back and, really feel it and say, what is the bounty I am harvesting in me? Right?
Absolutely.
Even more, because yes, the third dimensional world is going to try and make it hard. And you know what? It's going to get harder. I wish I could say it's not going to, but that's only if you buy into it. And I really do have to share that one of the greatest gifts that has ever happened to me is totally unplugging from all media. Has been extraordinary.
Very helpful.
Here, oh my gosh. I mean, it's crazy. And you're not uninformed. Everybody wants to tell you what's going on. And if you're online, if you have email, you're going to find out something. However, that conscious unplugging, and I do think it was coupled with going international. Shri and I have lived international now for over 10 years. And that really broadens your ability to honestly put into practice that wide angle lens. And when you are living events that are you're in live time living an event, watching it broadcast on the news totally differently, your life, you realize that it's all, I don't care what side it thinks it's tilted toward or where it's going, it's just all a means of mass control, and it is all a necessity. And so you were sharing, Suzanne, I'd much rather have this communication going with you. It's a lot more fun, and it's easier to stay healthy. It's, I'm, let's see, today's September 19th. So you are with me on the evening of my 59th birthday. Thank you so much for sharing that with me.
Happy birthday. Feliz cumpleaños.
Gracias, señorita. As this is my last year in my 50s, I'm excited to turn 60. I'm looking forward to it. And I think that that's a gift, because I feel like it's like, okay, and now I get to start the second half. What's there, right? And that's the gift that I think we can all model for each other right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What a divine gift, And it really is, I think you bring up a really good point about where you want to put your energy, because it's precious. And if you do, if you have a destiny to be a change agent on something that's geopolitical, let's say, you will have the responsibility to investigate and research, and it's not going to come through mass media. Right. It's going to come through investigative means, nor is it going to come through you convincing people of what you've discovered. You will be guided to take the action, because that's part of your calling, But the beauty is, if you allow your consciousness to keep rising up, you can be in more of a telepathic space with one another, a conscious space of knowing when you're going to see each other, when it's time to go to a place, versus like having to think you have to plan it all out so much. Well, it doesn't really happen.
Yeah. And yet it does, and I always giggle about that, because so often people misunderstand that. There's so many beautiful ways that we can interpret things, right? And when you share that about planning it all out, or the spontaneous, it happens that way, it doesn't mean that you're not planning, and it doesn't mean you're not doing the things that you need to do. And this always brings me back to where you were earlier in the show today, and I really want to go back here because I love this, is that it takes discipline. And alongside of that, it takes commitment. You're going to say yes a million times. And every time you think you're not going to have to say yes again, you're going to have another yes come in front of you. And so it's about adapting the recognition that the more I say yes, the greater my trust, the greater my trust, the greater my flow, the greater my flow, the greater I can create and serve, right? And
absolutely.
And we are all doing that, and we have the opportunity to do that right now. I just want to share with you that I'm going to be in Bhutan in November. And I'm very excited about that, because as you were talking earlier about the Buddhism aspects, this month, September, I've been inviting everyone to send extra love to His Holiness the Dalai Lama, because His Holiness the Dalai Lama and all of that level of compassionate Buddhism is what opened the fifth dimension for all of us a long time ago. And without that, it would not be. However, they're under attack energetically. The literal fifth dimension is eroding from the bottom up because of this coagulation of the third and fourth dimension. And the Dalai Lama, I'm not saying he's in danger. I'm not saying that his health is going bad this month. But what I am saying is that we all need to start showing up. We need to be sending directed love. And this is why I think going to Bhutan is so important, because Bhutan, here in Ecuador, it's pretty extraordinary, but Bhutan is the only country on the planet where gross national happiness is more important than gross national product. The only new carbon neutral place on the planet left. And I want to get there before it's not, And I feel that we are all, Shri and I are very blessed to have traveled the world. And I really feel that we're all being told, go pick up these energies. And there's times, and forgive me for saying it, but there's times like I feel like we're a little Noah's Ark of crystalline light here. And that so we are going to put 88 Bhutanese prayer flags on our mountain. We currently we currently have 6 Bhutanese really tall prayer flags on our mountain. But we are coming back to Bhutan, I heard, with 88 more to just send that energy.
That's beautiful.
Back.
That'll anchor it and transfer the energy really beautifully.
I hope so. I hope so. That's our intention, certainly. It will.
Well, there's some powerful masters there that are not in the dogmatic traditions of Tibetan Buddhism that are practicing Tibetan practices there. So it'll be really magical.
Well, I often say that while my beloved friend Ken Ballard, who is coordinating this for us, and I've been blessed to do many things with Ken, he brought Tom Kenyon there. And that's where Tom, because he and Tom are fairly close, and that's where they did the Chode ceremony. And their Chode ceremony was all women. And so we are going to do a chode ceremony, but we're going to do it with a balance. We want to bring in now, because then what my experience of the coming times are, because I've been bringing forward the 2020 kind of energies lately, and Sedona Journal's been asking for them, so I have to get that in right away.
Right.
And what I'm seeing coming is that we all, in 2020, it will be a year of experience. So the question is going to be, what tools, what beautiful suit of armor are you going to wear to this experience party? And it feels like that we're all being kind of like you're going to the party whether you like it or not. So you gotta have fun. So I want to go to the room where they're having fun at the party. And,
absolutely.
It feels like this kind of soupy party coming forward for 2020. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, good things on the rise, right?
Yeah, they really are. Now, Suzanne, we have about like 3 minutes left. So help me help all of these beautiful people that are listening. Tell us more about you, why we want to contact you, and how we can. Because I know everyone watching needs to do this.
Oh, very sweet. Well, you can look me up on the web, SuzanneToro.com, and the links are there too, or on Oneness Talk Radio. We have a weekly show. Thank you. That's going to get even richer, because I feel like we've been in a holding pattern a little bit. So I've been listening for that gateway is about to open up. So a lot of good things coming there. And then if you're interested in my work one-on-one, I work with people from a dreaming state to sound states to karmic states, really from the quantum field down to the physical plane, and have a passion for helping people shake the stuff off and keep moving forward. So I don't know, I love humanity. So I'm always the champion, like, come on, humanity, you can do it.
Woohoo! I'm with you. I'm really with you right now. So for all of us who are diving into this beautiful equinox energy of September, what would be your prayer for all of us? What would you like to share?
Be really inward, anchor, like feel into where on planet Earth that really resonates with you, and anchor there. You might think but listen and see where you're taken just through your mind's eye. And then really consciously plant the seeds where you think you are to focus, but then feel into where you are being called to focus, and trust that you will take the steps and the efforts that are going to lead you to there, just like you guys were led to where you are right now, the Blue Mountain. You keep planting and taking action in the physical realm to prepare you, and sometimes it can feel like a dress rehearsal, but trust in that process, because we do need dress rehearsals for this great masterpiece that we're creating.
It's so true. We need many dress rehearsals.
I mean, don't feel defeated when you get a chance to do I used to say when I do my architectural drawings, and the last minute the ink would go everywhere and I have to redraw on vellum. But at the second time it goes faster, so you learn so much the first time, or the third or fourth or fifth.
Well, that is so true. And so if you were to give one tip that would say, okay, if you're having a hard time remembering who you are, if you think you're losing it, if the density is just getting to you, if you're just having one of those moments where you're like, it's getting to me, what would you suggest?
Yeah. Get out in nature, get to a tree, sit your bottom down on the ground, put your back to that tree, and stay there till you feel better. Oh. And don't leave the tree, even if it means spending the night with the tree.
Yay! Oh, okay. There's a
That's what I would recommend.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, my angel. And to all of you that are tuning into Soul Mirrors, thank you for supporting this show each week. We are truly honored to share this time with you. And as you move into your equinox weekend, what are you doing to claim your feminine balance? And this is not about sex or gender. What are you doing to claim the feminine balance within? And are you harvesting your jewels? Suzanne, I know you're harvesting yours.
Yeah. Oh,
I want to thank you
so much. Such a treat.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Namaste.
Oh, namaste. And to all of you, know that you are eternally loved, and we are so grateful to be with you each and every week. Namaste.
Namaste.
We love you.